sunny lane today.
Huh?
I need a sunny lane today.
You gotta move more, girl.
In the shade.
In one corner, or one lane, we have Trent Shaw. In the other lane, we have Eric Wong. Who will come out on top? I want to hear you guys get really loud. They're gonna race with a stroke called the breaststroke. All right, on your marks, get set, go! Let's go! Oh my God, this is very one-sided, folks. This is not even close. Oh my gosh. Oh man. That was a one-sided race.
Trent, you have a really nice breast stroke.
That was very one-sided.
Oh man.
I didn't like that competition.
Good morning, class. I'm Coach Jess. This is David, Trent, and Eric, and today we are going to teach you the breaststroke.
Yeah, so today we're going to teach you the breaststroke, but before we start, like how we start every class, I want to remind you guys of the safety regulations. Just something that we need to go over every class. Just remember, just so that no one gets hurt or no one drowns, and our lifeguard doesn't have to be used. And just remember that to be respectful of this area and that it's not ours, and to be respectful of it. So I'm just going to recap a little bit what we learned last week or last Tuesday in the backstroke. So who remembers any cues when it comes to the legs?
The legs?
The legs.
Kick from your hip.
That's right, one kick from your hip.
Flutter, oscillate.
Bubbles not splashing. Yes, oscillating of the hips.
Kick up.
Yeah, kick up, not down. Yeah, be hydrodynamic. What about when it comes to the upper body?
Lead with your thumb.
Lead. Oh. You want to lead with your pinky in, but up with your thumb. Yeah.
Yeah. Lead with your thumb, enter with your
Lead with the thumb, enter with the pinky. Anything else? What about the head? Does anyone remember like that one?
where the head goes.
Wait, Reggie, can you say that for us one more time, please?
Your body goes where your head.
Exactly, your body goes where your head goes. So I just want to remind you guys of all those cues, especially when it comes to the breaststroke today. And one thing that I also want to reiterate is rhythm, especially with today. There's going to be a lot of rhythm in the breaststroke. It's not like, it's also known as a resting stroke, so it's not going to be, not everything's going to be synchronized. So yeah, Trent's going to lead you guys in warm-up now, so you guys can get in the pool, get in the same lanes that you were in on Tuesday.
All right, everybody, kick off your sandals, grab your goggles, whatever you need to do, and hop in those lanes.
Jump right in. Is it warm? Yes.
Very warm.
It's actually Luke. Really?
That's good, right?
You just gotta dunk your head in. That's killing you.
Is it actually warm?
You are a
It's nice, Reggie.
Coming in, ladies. Coming in.
You guys lied to me. It's honestly really
You got it, Matthew. Just go for it.
Go for it, Matt.
It's like ripping a Band-Aid off.
It's not that bad. Did we dump ourselves in?
All right, we're all going to submerge ourselves and get all the way into the water. All right, everybody feel ready to go?
Control the rest of your body.
It's gonna get in one way or another, Mac.
There it goes.
Yeah. There it is.
All right, just like last week, we're gonna be using a warm-up that kind of utilizes techniques we learned last class. So we're gonna be focusing on freestyle and backstroke. But before we get into that, I do want to warm up the arms a little bit, just some light arm circles. All right, and the opposite way. Good stuff, everyone. Now just quick tricep stretches here.
Did you have a nice pump this morning?
and switch.
It helps to jump up and down.
All right, perfect. Let's get moving so we're a little bit warmer. So we're gonna be doing 2 laps from there to the midway point in the pool and back, and the first stroke is gonna be freestyle. So remembering all the cues, keeping the thumb nice and close to the armpit, keeping from the hip, keeping legs underneath the water so we're not splashing, but we're bubbling the surface. And we'll go ahead and get started, doing 2 laps on that.
They were just like squishing on my eyes.
Right, dude, it happens to all of us. It happens to the best of swimmers. Michael Phelps put his dog over the first time. Definitely the first time. I read an article about it.
Just swim as fast as you can and work out Wow, breathe more. Oh my God.
All right, good stuff, everyone. Feeling a little bit warmer now? No. Okay, we'll keep swimming then. So good stuff on the freestyle. I like it. I'm seeing improvement, especially since the first day. That's awesome. Major props to you guys. Next, we're going to be doing the backstroke. So same thing here, 2 laps. And I want to focus on leading with the thumb as if it's being pulled out of the water like the string, and then rotating and entering the water with your pinky, but really focus on extending all the way out here and reaching as far back as you possibly can. Anything else you guys want to add for the cues?
Remember to keep your head back on the water like it's resting on a pillow, and have your eyes looking at your toes and not up or completely down in the water to keep your body straight.
Perfect, yeah, that's a very good point. And we'll go ahead and get started with this one as well. So 2 laps here too.
Yeah, Noah.
Nice.
Remember your legs. Nice
How are we doing on backstroke over here?
Good, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I can't really do backstroke over here, but
Chill out, guys. Chill out.
goggles
forget to breathe, Noah.
I like that.
I know, I've been
I agree.
That was a lot better.
All right, good job, everybody. Seeing some improvement on this one too. One thing I'm noticing though is that when we're flexing our shoulder and coming towards the end of this reach-in phase right here, our arms are kind of away from our head, and it's not a very streamlined profile going through the water. So really focus on keeping your arm close to your ear and almost touching it. But other than that, it's looking really good. And now Jessica's going to be introducing you guys to the new stroke for today and kind of explaining what's going on.
So where the breaststroke differs from the freestyle stroke and the backstrokes that we have already learned is the lack of rotation when your body is performing the stroke in the water. And by that I mean you want to keep your body streamlined, so a flat position on the top of the surface of the water throughout the entire movement of the stroke. And a helpful tip to remember when kicking your legs, it's a unique technique of kicking that David will demonstrate and explain later. But you want to whip kick outward and inward with your leg, which, as I said before, David will demonstrate and we will learn. And a helpful tip to remember with your arms, this is kind of a silly analogy, but it is helpful. Just think of it as scooping ice cream into your mouth. And I love ice cream. I think we all love ice cream. You're kind of making a heart shape. So think of how much you love the ice cream and you want to scoop it into your mouth. So with those tips in mind, a fun fact about the breaststroke is the world record holder Adam Peaty does the 50-mile breaststroke in 25.95 seconds, which is crazy fast. 50 meters. That's so fast. Michael Phelps. And Eric and Trent will demonstrate the entire stroke, but not as quickly as Adam Peaty does.
Well, I might.
Notice the rhythm, how they're smoothly going in and out of the water. The breaststroke is known as a recovery stroke, so it's not as quickly performed as the other strokes, which is nice, but the technique is very different, so that's something you really need to focus on today, which we will teach you. Good job, guys. So the 4 keys to remember are to catch and pull with your arms, breathe, kick, and then glide, and we will go into details about all of those later, but now David is going to teach you guys how to do the kicking portion.
Right, or we just turn around. Check me out. So obviously I can't get in the pool, but the leg kick is probably where you're going to generate most of your power from in this stroke. All it's going to come for your legs, like you're kind of like you're jumping off the floor, except you're horizontal. Okay, so we're going to break it down into 3 parts. Eventually, once you get them all down, it's going to all be one fluid motion. So I'll start by standing, then I'll lie on my side. So the first part, what we're going to do, we're going to bring our heel to our glute, just like that. And then as Jess mentioned, the whip kick comes. But first, as you see, notice my foot and my shin is kind of at a 90-degree angle. What that does is kind of gives more surface area to catch onto the water from. So you're going to be able to push more. So foot's at a 90-degree angle with my shin. I'm gonna bring my heel up to my glute, and then next is gonna be that whip kick, so that's when you're gonna kick out. All right, and that's when you're gonna push the water back. You're gonna push the water back towards the back wall. All right, so we're gonna start here, push the water back, and then lastly, we're gonna bring it all together and streamline. So you're gonna point your toe back towards the back wall. All right, so step 1, heel the glute. Step 2, step 2, push the water back. Step 3, bring it all together and point your toe back towards the wall. All right, so from a different perspective, I can show you right here. All right, so you're bringing it there, push it back, streamlining just like that. Push it. Like that. All right, so yeah, you're gonna generate a lot of power with the legs. Some common problems, maybe some things you want to try to avoid. Try to kick your legs both at the same time. Some people like to twist their hips and like kick one leg out and then one leg kind of stays back. If you get them both at the same time, it's gonna be one fluid motion. You're gonna be very hydrodynamic. That's a common term you guys like. All right. So now we're gonna grab the kickboards. But first, is there any questions about those 3 steps? Is that all good? All right. So everyone grab a kickboard for the group. But first, watch Jeff demonstrate. And Eric.
If you guys want to watch under the water to get a different angle, it might be.
Yeah, that's actually really helpful. I would recommend that.
But yeah, we're going to try both.
Remember, what is that called again?
It's the whip kick.
Whip kick.
Whoosh, just like you're taking out someone's kneecaps. Matt just explained. Now we know where his mind's at. All right. Okay, so, we got a question.
Where do you want our hands?
On the hands, kind of the same as the last one, right in the middle. Yeah.
The middle.
All right. We'll
Trying to keep the board above the water or underneath?
We'll keep it above.
Are we trying to drown the baby?
Use it as a close motion device.
We never want to drown our baby. Ever. Important tip. All right. When you guys are ready, give it a shot.
Can you go back that way?
Good, Bob.
It's looking good. Thank you. Well.
This is a nice calm stroke. There's no pressure. Yeah, don't break the surface.
Yes, Erica, you look good. Hydrodynamic frog.
That is another way to think of it, thinking of it wrong. But the whip kick sounds more.
The whip kick sounds like
When your feet come together, hey guys, when your feet come together, let yourself glide for a couple seconds. Let it hold. Really focus. Point your toes back towards the wall. See how far you can push.
Good job, Erica. Focus on lifting that kick.
with that kid, girl.
Meaty.
This is a lot of work.
Every time I do that, my legs. We're gonna
Here we go. Nice.
Beautiful.
Feel the burn.
Shoulder press, okay.
I just said 1%. Once you get the
Real quick. Matthew. Real quick, I don't want to take away from you guys' practice time, but real quick, some of you guys, your hips are kind of rotating when you towards a certain direction. It's really important to keep your hips, keep it all one straight midline, okay? Remember, you're initiating with your hips, so it's just going to be straight. We're not going to twist it, all right? One more time.
Really focus on that streamlined position to direct your body straight. Flat on the water.
All right.
What is it doing?
You can only go uphill from here.
Yeah, good.
Straight hips.
No, it's trying to be board above water.
That was a little water spike.
Flip it through. Flip it. Flip it. Flip it.
Nice, Marta.
Good. Outward in.
Great job, Bob. Don't forget to breathe. There you go.
Way to push, Reggie. Good job. Push.
See what you do, Bob? Bob.
That's the thing. It was like someone from the other side of the net.
See what you do? You cut corners.
That's a good profile right there.
You're welcome, Trent.
So Reggie,
This stroke will bring out
when you're like working out, it's kind of a narrow profile, so allow them to whip a little bit more. So it's a wider profile. You'll have more promotion from it.
Thanks, coach.
It's the width.
It's okay. Arms are next.
Eric, are we gonna pull someone out or just go on?
All right, guys, that's actually looking really good. Do you guys have or actually one thing I want to point out is that you guys are just constantly kicking. Remember to have a little pause between your kicks so you have a stream line, and it kind of propels you. And then once you're almost done propelling, then you want to kick again. Because if you keep kicking, you're not really going to be propelled at all. And that's like the one thing about this kick that's different from the other ones, that a constant kick will help you in the backstroke and in the freestyle, but for this one, you want to be propelled and then have a little pause. Do you guys have any questions on the kicking? Yes, Carlos.
And so when you're bringing your knee up, is it going straight to like your abdomen or is it going out?
No. So what happens is your knee kind of like I'm just out of nowhere. Sorry. So your knee's not really coming up like there.
Okay.
It's coming more. It's more of like kind of a halfway point. So it's like a 45 degree between your hip and your trunk, and then you're pushing it out. It's more of like you're jumping. You know. So.
Outward then inward.
But so Carlos actually, minus except for the question, he actually had one of the best kicks that I saw without water. So Carlos, with the kickboard, can you demonstrate for us? And can you guys watch Carlos? See how he does it? And if you guys, it would be helpful to observe underwater for those of you who do have goggles.
If you don't worry about it.
And so look at his pause between. Again, one thing I want to emphasize is the rhythm. And look how he kicks, glides, and then kicks again.
Good job, Carlos.
Give him a hand.
Bring him home.
A nice golf clap. All right.
Very good, Carlos.
All right. So remember, just like last time, we broke it down to the legs first, and then what comes next? This is where my friend Eric will come teach you guys about arms.
Yeah, so I'm going to take this.
Trent's
portion
going
of
to
it
take this
for
one.
today.
Never mind.
So just as last week, Carlos knows what's up. We're going to be using the pool buoy. So David, real quick, is going to model how to hold that between the legs. Perfect. Yep. So he's squeezing right between the knees there. So again, that's just going to help float our legs while we're able to focus on our arms and learn that stroke. So when it actually comes to the stroke, I like to think of it in terms of 3 parts. So the first one would be the catch, and this is more of like a position. So we're going to be like a prayer position right here, and then the next one is propulsion. This is actually where we're going to get the water pushed behind us, obviously. And then recovery is the last one, so we're going to be returning to the catch phase. And so if you'll notice, we're basically drawing an upside down heart here. And so the catch phase is at the apex of the heart. And then the propulsion are the two lobes coming out. And then the recovery phase is splitting the heart into two. So real quick, David's gonna demonstrate it so you can actually see it underwater. Perfect. Catch, propulsion, recovery. Broken heart. Exactly. Yeah.
Russ, so David exaggerates, he's coming in to prepare for Russ.
Exactly. Yeah. So any questions so far on that? No? You guys are doing good? And then as far as the breathing goes, it's kind of important because we're going to be coming in and out of the water. It's going to be on the recovery phase back to the catch. So you'll just have to get used to that timing, and that comes with practice. So first, we're going to do 2 laps again, and then that way we can kind of get acquainted with this stroke, and then we'll come back in with some cues and some feedback and go about it again. So one at a time. Oh, first, we're going to have a couple demonstrations for you guys. It'll be really helpful, so Eric and Jess will do that.
You can look underwater or out of the water. Depends on which angle you learn better.
All right, how about a round of applause? Any questions before we get started?
So when does your head come up?
So the head comes up and you breathe on the recovery phase back to the catch.
Head comes up when you break the heart.
Yep.
Nice.
All right, let's get started then. How about 2 laps to start us off?
I don't care. For me and the generations that come after
Bob, you're doing great. You're trying to focus more on the flow of the water. You're just
Nice, Ricky.
Good job.
Nice, Ellie. Good job. Very good man.
One more, just one.
You're doing 2 in total.
Remember to breathe underwater, James.
I'll do the face that you gave me.
I did. I knew you watched me, so I started thinking about it.
That's it, McPhail. I'll watch you.
Oh no! Wait, is that a good idea? Well, technically not mine.
What are some ways you can keep your hips up during this, as opposed to letting them fall? Mila just answered it, but
Arch your back.
no. Mila answered. What was it?
Head down.
Keep your head down during this stroke. So if your head's down, your back's gonna stay straight and your hips aren't gonna drop down to the pool floor, okay? So when you're coming up, your head's down, you're going down. I know it's hard to breathe because you got water flying everywhere, but you wanna keep your head down the whole time so your hips can stay up.
Remember, the body goes where the body goes, where the head goes, the body goes.
All right, good job so far. Yeah, Mila, go.
I would say, we won't get into that, but just don't have your fingers spread out.
Keep your fingers together.
Have one more water that, just don't do that. We're not done here.
Catch and
It's looking good so far. One thing I'd like to emphasize is the importance of breathing out while you're underwater. So that way when you're up on top of the water, you have that entire time to get that full breath of air in, and it's much easier to swim that way. Anything else you guys want to add?
Yeah, one thing I want to add, I saw a couple of you guys do this, is that during the glide phase, your hands are going to be out rather than to your side. If your hands are to your side, then you're going to have to restart your whole stroke. So make sure your arms are out, you're catching and propelling yourself, and then coming straight back in for your glide rather than going out and then keeping your hands back and gliding that way.
Something I also noticed during the pull phase is to really reach and extend all the way and pull the water back so you can propel yourself forward. And just think of drawing the upside down part.
It's like the soda boy.
Good job, everyone.
Can you
so
sing that
why don't we
song
try
while
that one more time? We'll just do one lap this time.
Wait, with this?
One lap. Yep, with the pool buoy.
Just so you can focus on your arms. I know it's an awkward position, but really focus on your arms.
So go for it.
That head down. When you submerge out of the water, just so you're but if anything, never put it down, put it down.
David, how's it looking?
It's looking good. The arm's looking good. Everyone's keeping it nice and tight.
Well, we're going to focus on the head this time. Like when you're going to
I'm coming for you, Eric.
What? Can you use your legs or something?
I haven't checked on this side in a while. How are we doing?
Yeah, we're doing good, yo.
How's the muscles? Yeah?
Oh, no.
No strains?
Yeah.
We're good. I'll never say that again.
Safety hazard.
Yeah, exactly.
You can joke to him. Like you make fun of him. I feel like there's a current right here that I just It's a swimming pool. Yeah. The swell's coming in and I can't handle it. Swim where I'm going.
What? I feel it. It's not recovered.
All right, guys, that's looking real good. Noah, do you mind demonstrating this for us one time?
And also, Matthew, if you would like to demonstrate.
Man who was once afraid to enter the water is now.
Yeah, Noah made huge improvements from the first time to the second time. After that break, so I just want to see you guys. Pieces all together.
I gotta see this.
Hey guys, point out some things that you see in the form. What are they doing? What are they doing right?
Everything.
Good rhythm.
Yeah.
What else?
You're a natural born swimmer, Noah. Switch sports.
Notice
Noah-
Matthew's head position. Like glide right here.
Very good.
Yeah, so one thing I saw with Noah that stood out was between the first time trying the second time is that when he's breathing, he's not lifting his head up, and when he was lifting his head up, his feet were kind of dragging on the floor because he's also really tall. So just remember to keep your head down so that way your legs stay up.
So now we are going to piece together the parts of the whole again. So what key points that we have been emphasizing throughout this teaching lesson would you guys like to reiterate?
Streamline.
Streamline, yes. Remember with the breaststroke, it's really important to be in that flat streamlined position on the top of the water so you can focus on the gliding technique. What else?
Upside down on it.
Whip it.
Yeah, whip it with a kick, almost like a frog, but we like the term whip it better because it describes the outward and inward pull of the kick. And also remember, with your heel, like David demonstrated in the beginning, almost make a circle with your leg and touch your heel with your butt. What else?
Soldier boy extension.
You into the water.
Yes, like we said, the catch and the pull proportion, and draw an upside down heart with your arms. Anything else?
Are there any cues specific to you guys that helped you guys kind of learn it, whether it's in the arms or the legs?
Upside down heart.
Yes.
Upside down heart.
And we would like to reiterate, as we have said so many times before, where your head goes, your body follows. So really focus on that head position, and don't forget to breathe with every stroke, because that's obviously important. So now Eric and Trent will demonstrate the full stroke all together. Just notice their smooth, streamlined position and how they go from a kick and a glide, not just kick, kick, kick. Don't forget the glide portion
Power right there. That was power.
He should have won the race. Okay, so if you guys would also like to try this as well, let's go one at a time. There and back. We can start once and then come together again, and someone will demonstrate for us.
Got it.
Bob. Head down. I don't read it. Underwater.
Yeah, bring it up.
Good, Mila? Do a little bit more normal. Yeah, with the 20.
We're doing 2 laps or what?
2.
Good job, Martin. How's it feeling so far?
Love it.
Awesome.
Sorry, I've been good at this.
Oh, just for future reference. I don't know if you're gonna get another lap, but it's gonna be 1 breath per stroke. There you go. No, it's not. It's not horrible.
Make sure we're kicking pretty wide, Mila.
You're going. It's not wrong. It's just not gonna be very efficient.
Okay, the reason why I don't go like that is stay upper body. That's it.
Yeah, but I mean, just for future reference, I don't know. But but the main aspect. Don't worry.
your arms and legs at the same time, and we want to remind you it's not actually synchronizing the two. It's a catch and a pull, and then a kick and a glide.
Yeah, so when it comes to this, to the breaststroke, the arms and the legs aren't synchronized. You're not doing the same thing even though they're similar motions. So one key I want you guys to remember is that you're going into the water, you're pulling, you're breathing, and then when you go back in, you're kicking, and then you're gliding. Does that make sense? So you're gonna pull, breathe, and then kick, and then glide. So it's arms, breathe, kick, glide. Does that make sense? Do you guys have any questions about that? It's something that you're gonna have to get used to because your arms and legs are gonna wanna do the same thing, so that's gonna come a lot with practice. It's not gonna come to you guys the first day. Do you guys have any questions about that aspect of breaststroke?
So arm, breathe, and leg.
Yeah.
It's kind of timing, step-by-step process.
Yeah.
Like as you come up to breathe, you're kicking, or once you go back down at home?
Once you can go back down, so you're pulling, you're coming out, you're breathing, and then
Just kicking all the emotion away.
and then you're gliding, and then you're restarting that process. It's gonna be a little difficult to get the timing down the first time, so don't worry if you don't get it. Just try your best to get that timing down. Any other questions on that? Nope. So we're gonna try that. Let's give you guys 2 more laps to do that. So down and back, down and back.
Focus on what we were telling you. Good job, Jake.
Eric.
That's really good timing. I like it.
That's better. What's yeah, so basically you're underwater and you're pulling with your arms, which brings your head up to breathe, and then that's when you transition to the kick, which makes you glide, and you glide down back underwater, and then you start to cycle with it.
Moving lanes.
Good. I know it is. It is confusing, but just remember to synchronize it together. I'll get it.
I get like so much better with my arms.
Your glides out here, round out. In front of you, round it.
I tried it.
She's not intruding.
Transitioning to the arms.
Right on. All right. So for our, okay, I was trying to think of a clever word to say. Example. I'm gonna find one. All right. So for our example, we're gonna have Martha demonstrate the full breaststroke for us.
Wow. So look at the rhythm between her arms and her legs, if you guys can see that.
And how she keeps her head in the water, but also brings it up after every stroke.
Do you guys have any questions about the whole breaststroke? as like putting it together, what we talked about between the arms and the legs.
All right. So that's not it. Okay. All right. So let's do a little recap. So let's start with the kick. What is that called? What is that type of kick called? Whip kick. All right. All right. And arms. What's that analogy?
Upside down heart.
Upside down heart. So we're gonna. What's the first phase? Yep. What? You got me, dude.
Make
I'm
clothes.
gonna say yes to anything. All right. So arms. We're gonna make the upside down heart. We're gonna thrust forward, as Coach Moore said. We're gonna break that heart. Not mine.
There's a thrust in there.
Yeah. All right. And then when we put it all together, remember, as Jess said, it's not gonna be synchronized. So it's gonna be a pull and what'd you say?
The catch and the pull.
Catch in the pole. Exactly. Grab it on the phone.
And a big takeaway, as we've said so many times, where the head goes, the body follows. So the streamlined position is essential for that.
And then I have one more thing to add. Last week, Mila asked a question about the world record in the backstroke. So for the women's in the 50 meters down and back, it's 25 seconds, and for the men's down and back, it's going to be 22. This is a shorter pull, so like it's just down once you get to professional grade and professional size pull. But for here, it's down and back. It's 22 and 25 seconds for the men and women respectively.
Give those people a hand.
Do you have any questions? Any other questions?
Okay, let's get warm.
All right, you're free.
You're warm.